Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us again for another episode of the Alex Hayes podcast. And I am your host, Alex Hayes. I'd like to share with you some reflections over 2025 and what we did, what we learned, and what's going to happen going forward, right? So, we spent 2025, a lot of it traveling the country, talking to business owners, talking to professionals, business developers, wealth managers, business brokers, we spoke with actual owners that exited their companies. We listened to what people are dealing with, and there's a few commonalities that we found across the spectrum. One, big picture view: business owners are very cautious about the economy right now. So our big picture view is there's a lot of uncertainty in the markets. Business owners are trying to figure out how they're going to navigate this economy because they're not feeling it. Small business in particular is feeling pinched. They're feeling the effects of inflation. They're feeling the effects of regulation, are looking at the upper stratosphere. Upper stratosphere companies continue to get richer, and they're feeling like the game is rigged, like the game is a little bit rigged against them. It's favoring the big corps rather than small business. And with that, there's a lot of uncertainty. They're feeling higher pressure with wages. They're feeling higher pressure uh, with the cost of goods and delivery, energy, just fulfillment, feeling the pinch of margins getting smaller and bigger businesses buying up smaller businesses, right? So they're in this weird small businesses in this weird category where kind of they're cautious. I wouldn't say pessimistic, but you could say they're not as optimistic as maybe the younger business owner, right? I'm talking specifically about baby boomers that are business owners, which make up still the majority of the business owners in circulation, right, in small business. So there's a lot of skepticism, there's a lot of caution, there's a lot of uncertainty in the marketplace, and with that, they're feeling a little bit. I'm hesitant to say lost, but lost is maybe a little bit too strong of a word. But they're feeling like they are in unfamiliar waters, and it's a little scary given that they are towards the end of their earning cycle or earning career, and they're looking to they will want to retire, they want to spend more time with family, but they're not sure if they stop working that the money will continue to show up. They're not sure if they're financially free yet. The business is still 80 to 90% of their value of their net worth is tied up in equity in their business, but the business will stop if they stop, right? And if they take their chips from the table and they cash out, will that be enough? So there's a lot of this uncertainty in this transitional phase. They know they can't keep doing this forever, but they don't feel like they have any choices. So these are some of the main points that we are seeing now across our country, right? They're tired. Successful business owners are starting to get tired. There's small businesses getting pinched, and there's a lot of just people being tired of carrying the load, but also maybe not sure about what options they have. So that's a big thing. That's like 10,000-foot view looking down. That's what we're seeing the landscape look like as a whole. And then you have the marketplaces where there's all kinds of different people right now selling exit services, and there's all kinds of language around there about you are the bottleneck of your business, you are the constraint, and it's a little hard to navigate of who's going to actually help you. One thing that I want to highlight is how much our generation, the younger generations, need to honor and respect business owners that have been in business for decades. Because I don't feel like we have a true appreciation for how hard that is. It is super hard to have a business beyond 5 years, let alone close to 50, right? And business owners across this country that have businesses now that have been in operation for multiple decades, they deserve respect. They deserve our honor from our as a country because they have been the backbone of our economy for so long. They've been the backbone of the economy, local economies, and the entire economy as a whole. Small business is what has made this country great. And every business owner that has dealt with, you know, all the decades of all the problems, they've been through multiple recessions, possibly depressions, depending on your definition, but recessions for sure, market changes. They've seen dot-com bubble. They've seen the great financial crisis, housing markets. They've seen costs of inflation rise rapidly. They've seen COVID. They've seen, I mean, you name it. They have dealt with it all. All these problems they have dealt with as a small business owner, and they are still here, still fighting. But this is not a group of people that give up. This is not a group of people that are weak or soft or lost. They are not. What they are fighters. They are fighters, and they are the pioneers. They are the warriors. They are the ones that are out in the field, on the field of battle every day, and they have put up with a lot. And I just want to take a moment and say thank you, right? Say thank you to all these business owners across our country, small business owners that have made our country great. So say thank you first. And then as we're listening to a lot of these stories and what helps people, kind of there's three main things, three to four main things. But one is as when it comes to the exit or succession conversation, three main points that we found is that one, it's knowing how to value a business, right? That's number one. You can't approach the exit succession conversation without understanding what your business is actually worth. And it takes maybe an objective opinion, or at least one that you can control some biases, but it's looking at your business as a whole, seeing what the cash flow is, and do you have an asset sale? Are you just going to sell your assets, or is that all the business is worth? Or do you have cash flows that you can sell? And then on top of either of those is how much risk is in the business. So you have a couple different options there, but understanding how to value your business, depending on where you're at, that's important. The next one that everybody across the board has said is getting financials cleaned, right? Getting financials cleaned is a super important step because, again, it helps bring clarity to the selling process or to the succession process. It goes back towards making sure you know what your business is worth. Well, if you don't have clean financials, it's very hard to understand what your business is worth, right? And that adds risk and uncertainty. And anything that adds risk or uncertainty to that transaction or to that process is going to lower the value of your business as a whole and in general. So that was number two, clean financials. The third one is always knowledge transferability. How easily is your knowledge base transferred from one person to another? This means standard operating procedures. It means training procedures. It means leadership development. So those three things together is how transferable is your knowledge base, or is it all up here in your head? This is another key factor. Because if it's all up here in your head and you have nothing written down and there's no way to transfer your knowledge base, your relationships, your processes to somebody else, and it's going to take time to learn because it's something what's called tribal knowledge, well, then that's, again, that lowers the valuation of your business because you are increasing the risk. You are increasing dependency on single person. If something happened to you, there's a big hole in that business structure. So that's a big part of this picture as well, is creating standard procedures, training guidelines, and leadership development, right, for fulfillment. So you need to make sure that you have systems and operating procedures and training procedures in place so that you can transfer your knowledge base as quickly as possible to somebody else. The more transferable your knowledge base, the easier it is to transfer, the higher the valuation that you're going to be likely to get because you're a safer bet, right? And then the last part of this puzzle is knowing yourself, is getting yourself as the owner prepared to navigate this leadership transition. Everybody says the same thing. You have to know what it is that you're going to do after the sale. Who are you without the business? Who are you going to be? And what I'm calling this a Michelangelo principle is Michelangelo, after he sculpted the statue of David, which was a masterpiece, he didn't just stop there and retire. What he did was he went on to go paint the Sistine Chapel using all the information and the skill sets that he had acquired through the process of sculpting the statue of David, right? And so you have to understand and really get clarity on what it is that you want. What are you looking for? how do you want to spend the rest of your life? If you're a baby boomer, you're, 65 to 75 to 85 years old, you are looking at, you know, by statistical data, and biology says that there's not a whole lot of time left on the clock. And the real question is, how do you want to spend it? And that's not to push you into urgency or to say that you need to make decisions or you need to do something quickly. That's not what I'm saying here. But what I am saying is that uh, I think everybody needs to take a serious look at themselves and make sure that what they're doing is providing them the value and the joy that it needs to, uh, based upon how much time you reasonably could expect to have left. And that's true for everybody, not just baby boomers, but I think legacy minded business owners really need to think about that. And so those are the four pillars. The three pillars really funnel into the one. So you have clean financials, you have operating procedures, and then with leadership development, and then you have knowing what it is that you want and how you want to spend the rest of your time, right? Because time is the most valuable resource. All three of those funnel into business valuation, right? So going forward, 2026, what's going to be ahead for Don't Die With Your Business, right? I've been super excited. My team's been workshopping this for all of December now. We have been looking at this very critically, and we're like, okay, where can we provide the most value to business owners? And I can tell you, I'm super excited. I can't just share with it just yet because it's almost finished, but I can tell you, I am super excited to be able to finally share 2026 plan with you, right? Lots of great things coming down the road, and super excited to be on this journey with you and sharing insights that we learned from all of our travels across the country, and with putting on live events and talking with professionals and talking with real business owners just like you. And again, I'd like to end this little segment of 2025 with a thank you. Thank you to all of you who have put in decades of your life into building a business and providing our country the backbone that it has relied on with goods and services and local economies for decades. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for all that you do. And I wish you a joyous, prosperous 2026. Here we come. Thanks so much.